Good morning. So I'm out here in my garden and I got to praying because I pray as I garden, I pull weeds. It's kind of like my good meditation time. And my garden's done really well this year so far as flowers are concerned. And you can see where I've been spending a lot of my time. Weeding, fertilizing, watering because we have had a lot of days of drought. And so I was pulling the weeds. I was thinking about my prayer life, and I got to thinking, do I have the right tools to weed? I have one weed that's over in my butterfly bush, which is that big one right there. And it's got thistles and thorns, but the leaves look a lot like the butterfly bush. So unless you really look closely, it's hard to tell if it's a weed or the bush. But when you go to grab it, it has all these little tiny thorns in it. And if I tried to grab it with my bare hands, it would hurt and it would get prickly and my hands would break out. So I had to go get my thick suede gloves and go in there and pull it all out. And so I thought that's kind of like what prayer's like. Am I praying in faith, which is my nice big thick glove, or if am I praying in fear, which is just my bare hand? And so if I'm praying in faith, then when I pray, I'm not doubting, and I'm going to share a video from someone I listened to who gave a really good talk about the no doubt thing. But if I'm praying in faith and I have no doubt, then that's my glove. And I'm pulling the weeds out because I know I'm not going to get hurt. It's going to accomplish my goal, is to get those weeds out. If I'm praying in fear, out of victim mode, of poor little me, oh, look, I'm not worthy, on, then I'm using my hand. And I'm going to get cut up, and I'm going to get beat up. It's going to itch, it's going to burn. Doesn't mean that I won't get the weeds out. I may. But why, when I can just use a tool that's going to prevent that? And it doesn't mean that there are never going to be weeds in my garden because I have all the tools. That's not what that means. Just like if I have prayer, it doesn't mean there's never going to be any problems. Or if I have faith in Jesus, that there's never going to be any problems. It just means that I've got the tools to deal with it so I can be more efficient, effective, and grab those weeds right out of my garden and out of my life with my prayer. Now, I want to take you over and show you my other garden. And this one, you could tell where I've not been spending as much time. I don't know why. Well, I kind of do. It's just a bigger garden, and it's right in the hot sun, where in the middle of the day, that one's not so hot. But as you can see here, I have not spent a lot of time, and I'm very ashamed to say it, because it looks pretty pathetic. Now, I'm still getting my squash and my zucchini out of it, and over there are some peppers, and I've got some okra, but the tomatoes are all gone. The carrots never really did anything because the soil wasn't quite right. I still got a potato in there somewhere, and then I harvested my onions and my garlic. So my carrots didn't do well because I didn't take care of the soil the way they needed to have done, but it was the first year I've ever done it. So I didn't know that. Kind of like prayer. Or when we first come to know the Lord, or for some who've not been saved, they come to say, oh no, well, you have to start working your soil. So you have to start working your prayer life. You have to start reading your scripture. So you could see where the weeds have taken over my garden because I have not spent as much time in it as I need to be. Just kind of like life. The weeds take over our lives when we don't spend enough time in our garden to pull out all the weeds of anger, fear, doubt, not worthiness, hate, rebellion, lust, all of those 7 little deadly sins that we have. That's Minnie playing with a bee, by the way. And I keep telling her not to and swatting her away, but I think this morning she's going to have to learn her lesson the hard way. But she's pretty smart. She'll learn it. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you this morning. And even if you're praying and you still got weeds, can you imagine what the weeds would be like if you didn't have prayer? If you didn't know God? If you didn't know that you're saved? If you didn't know that it's going to get better in the end? So, and I'll share that other video that was really good that I listened to this morning. And it talked about the faith and the fear thing, but it was really good. She put it in such a great way. But you all have a blessed day. I love you guys. No, I'm praying for you every morning. I'm going to go in and sit down in my prayer spot and just pray over all your needs. You've got someone in your corner, and we're just going to bring the angels down, and we're going to change this world one family at a time, one person at a time, one heart at a time. Love you guys.